Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some people coming up for coming well up or down. There's a couple of guys in Philly. Hey everybody, we are back. Welcome to the TD Report. Hope everyone's enjoyed their summer. I'm your host David Combs. I'm here with Cowboys for Life, TK, Tony Kennedy. How you doing, big guy?
What up? What up? What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing
Let me turn
great,
my
man. I'm gonna
phone.
tell you what. You gonna turn your camera sideways. There you go. So
Yeah.
listen, we got college football that just started the last couple of weeks, and well, last week and a half, and we've seen some great games already. We've seen some really bad blowouts. I think Auburn put up 73 points on somebody. Was it Alabama A&M or someone like that? It
Yeah,
was
they put the
terrible.
pause on somebody.
They put the pause. They burned some red
Put the
shirts.
pause.
You took your starters out and burned some red shirts on Alabama A&M on these
Mm-hmm.
money games. So let's talk about the biggest money game of the week. We're going to go back to Thursday. I'm going to talk about
Mm-hmm.
University of Colorado. Dion's Buffaloes pay a money game to a team that you probably shouldn't pay money to come to your place. North Dakota State. Listen, forget the directional. Forget the fact that these dudes are from North Dakota. These guys play football. They are excellent. They are an excellent program. And I'll say this, Tony. Uh, North Dakota State is a better football program than Colorado is. Last 20 years. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
doubt about that. Am I
Yeah.
wrong? Okay.
Yeah. The last 20, not the last 30, because the
Last
last
20 with
30, yeah, the last 30,
it's
Colorado
Michael
was one of the only.
Westbrook. It's Michael Westbrook. It's
Yeah, they one of the
John
only
Shalom.
programs
Yeah, yeah.
with a Heisman and a national
Cordell
title.
Stewart. Yeah, that's 30
Yeah.
years ago. But the
Yeah.
last 20 years for Colorado football has been lean, has been slim pickings.
Yeah.
It's been lean times. Now, Dion took a risk. You pay the money out, you bring in, you bring in an FCS opponent, but a good FCS opponent that was on a 5-game win streak against the FBS. So make sure we
Mm-hmm.
all understand this, everybody. North Dakota State's last 5 games against FBS teams have been W's. They've won 5 in a row. They were going for 6. And quiet as kept, Colorado showed some good things and they showed some bad things. Hey, Jody, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how y'all feeling, man? Hey,
What's going on?
know y'all talking about Colorado. Hey, tell moms happy birthday, TK.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
happy
bro.
birthday, Mrs. K. Uh,
Appreciate it.
official mom of the TD report. Thank you. Love to have her. We did, guys. Remember, we first started out. We were doing the show out in Mrs. Kennedy's sunroom. I think Tony, are you there now?
Yep.
That's where Tony
Right
is
in the
right now. That's
sunroom.
that's the home office. So we welcome in Jody Coleman to the show. I want to take a little sidetrack here because we're talking, college football. We'll finish the Dion and the Colorado thing. I have a few things I want to say. I want to throw those out to you real quick. Shout out to University of to Ohio State. Great opener. Let's talk about that wide receiver there because that's in a bigger theme I've got going on. Let's talk about that young wide receiver there. Is that Jeremiah Smith? Is that right?
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith is something special.
I've been
Six
preaching
wars,
about that kid for 2 years now.
Okay, thanks, Cody. Welcome to the show. This is our showrunner, Cody Bennett. Let's talk about Jeremiah for a second. Ohio State, the last 7 or 8 years, has had an excellent run of wide receivers come out of there. Okay. Top level guys, franchise level guys, super solid dudes coming out of there. For Jeremiah Smith to be starting as a true freshman is amazing in that program, given the depth and the success that they've had. Cody, can you speak to that? You've been talking about him. You said the last 2 years.
Yeah, the dude has been amazing ever since I moved to Miami. He's one of the first kids that I saw right up here, just north of Dade, and he was just outstanding when I saw him up in high school. And then the race to get him to commit was big. And he's a real big fan of who is the wide receiver coach over there, Brandon Stokely, I think.
No, Brian Hartline.
Brian Hartline. Sorry, they're like the same person in my mind, but yeah.
That ain't right, Cody. That's
But
Cody.
no,
He
yeah.
can
So
say that. He can
he's a
say
big
that
he's a big
shit.
fan of him, and that was a big reason why he ended up committing up there to Ohio. But the kid is going to be amazing.
Mm.
I was saying when he was in high school that I see this kid being a first round draft pick, so
Wow.
I'm excited to watch him play.
Jody, we're going to go to you. You are an Ohio State acolyte. You understand that program well. What makes Jeremiah Smith special?
What makes him special is that he's a mold of Marvin Harrison Jr. and he
Oh,
may be
wow.
better than him. And
Wow.
like Cody
Yeah.
made mention to, he was this close to going to the Hurricanes. He was
Yeah,
this
he was-
close to committing to the
It
Hurricanes.
was close, man.
But Ohio State been opening up the pocketbooks up here, so
Okay.
Yep.
NIL money is running real deep up here at Ohio State, man. But this kid right here has all the intangibles. He has a body type of David Boston, but he has the speed of Garrett Wilson. So he's a combination of Garrett Wilson and David Boston put together. Strong hands, can run the route tree like nobody's business.
His
man.
body
So,
control is unreal, man. I've seen balls thrown behind him, over him, under him, and the way he jumps and moves in the air to still get to the ball and make the catch is impressive, man.
How tall is this kid?
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4".
Are we talking mini Megatron here?
No, Megatron is out there in Arizona. Megatron is out there at T-Mac out there in Arizona. That's Megatron.
All right, let's shift the conversation. I just saw that kid's numbers. Is his name Tetrola? Is that how you pronounce it?
I just call him T. McMillan. I can't even pronounce it.
This
T-Mac.
kid at Arizona had 10 grabs for 304 and 4 tutties. One of them was a 78-yard touchdown, and I swear to God, he must have jogged the last 30 yards. I don't care if they're busted coverages or not. That kid put up numbers. So how big is that guy?
6'5".
Good. He's 6'5". He
215.
doesn't move like it. He moves like he's 6'2".
Yeah, that's why I said he more comparable to Megatron.
Now, I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen his frame, Jody. Is that dude's frame big? Is he built, or is like
No,
him?
he's-
Is he
Does
going
he
to
have
be
room
put?
to grow this way, or is he
He's
just
slender. He got a
Okay.
slender build, but
Okay.
he's elusive. He's only 215. I don't want to say only 215, but he's 215, 6'5", and I believe he got to be running a sub 4.4. So,
Jesus?
yeah,
He's big enough now to where he won't need to put on too much. But my only concern with those guys is when they start putting on that little bit of weight getting into the league, they slow down some. And once that little bit of slowdown loses that separation, that's killer.
You lose that flexibility also
Yeah.
to make those angular catches around people,
Mhm.
through people, over people. You do lose some of that. And I remember when you mentioned David Boston. I mean, that was his that was his issue in the pros. Is he just got too big. That LaRon Landry thing, he
was
Yep.
doing them steroids. That's what got him, man.
the roids.
Also, he was
Gotta
roided up.
lay
Man.
off the roids.
Mhm.
Since we're talking about wide receivers here, and first week of the season, we'd be remiss if we don't mention Colorado's two-way star Travis Hunter and the afternoon he had. We don't want it to overshadow what Jimmy Horn Jr. did because he beasted out too. Let's talk about Travis Hunter and his ability to make plays in space. The biggest thing that we talk about with him is ball skills and how great he is with the football in the air. Tony, talk about the ability of being able to throw a football wherever you've got to throw it, and you've got a guy that can go get it.
Well, the biggest thing about him is he's going to bail the quarterback out a lot, and allow him to make those throws he never would make. So for the people of Colorado, when they hit whether Travis Hunter's going to be a receiver or corner or whatever, because he got ball skills, Travis Hunter's going to be able to play both sides of the ball, not 70, 80% and 100% somewhere. He's going to be in packages based upon his team. If he was with Miami right now, the Dolphins, he would be playing DB, but they would put him in as a third or fourth wide receiver just to get him around. It depends on what kind of team you're on. That's how I see how they're going to use him. How Dallas used Dion late in his career when they got him on. Dion didn't start both ways, but they used him in packages. And that's how I see Hunter. Wherever he goes, he's going to be used in packages.
My only thing is like, do you think he is a perennial, one of a kind, only player to come out like this in a while? Because you just don't see two-way players in the league.
No, Cody, what he is.
Like
Cody,
the last
what he
two-way
is,
player was
Gordy Lockbaum. But Cody, what he is he's going to make people think outside the box and use every bit that you have. When you have players like that, it allows that OC or the DC to think outside the box. Just like some players are going to get drafted just because of the new kickoff rules. Um,
Because like my thing
look
is,
at,
is like your boy down there in Dallas, Trayvon Diggs was a wide receiver. He was a wide
yeah, he
receiver all the
was.
way up, and then he went to cornerback. And I mean, he
You
was
know why he went
prolific
to
at
corner?
cornerback. But like,
You know
why?
why he went to corner?
He's
Because
a
he
wide
had
receiver that
five.
can't catch.
He had no, he could catch, but he had five like number one draft picks in front of him.
No,
I-
but that's my
I-
point though. So, but my point in that is, if he can play both sides of the field like that, why isn't he used in any packages? Why would
because
Travis Hunter make a difference?
because Dallas ain't using them. If Dallas had somebody that would use them, they would put them in. If Dallas hadn't been short on receivers, but they would put them in, and they
Tony,
should.
let me get Jody in here. What you got,
My,
Jody?
my thought process is I understand what Tony's saying, but at the NFL level, it's absurd to play both sides of the ball. And especially if
Yeah.
you're going to draft him with a top 5 pick. I'm not putting my top 5 pick out there playing a whole bunch of snaps because he can eventually be burnt out too quick. And then
Yeah.
in 2 or 3 seasons, he's done.
Did I say a bunch? I
No,
did not
hold on.
say a bunch.
Hold
I
on.
said
Hold
packages.
on. All I'm saying is, for my money, I'm gonna let him focus on one side of the ball. A lot of people are in disagreement with me, but I think he should focus on the cornerback position because
I
I
do
think
too.
he's gonna be more. He's gonna make a lot of money at the cornerback position, and then when he gets his hand on the ball, because then we think about putting him at maybe returner, maybe put him at the kick returner position or a punt returner. That's the opportunity for him to put his hands on the ball. But as far as him playing the receiver, his receiver skills are outstanding, but receivers are a dime a dozen.
Right.
His
You
ball
can't find a
Cornerbacks
skills.
are
cornerback.
not.
You're not going to find a cornerback as good as him.
Yeah, you're not gonna find a corner
His,
that good.
So
I-
everybody's been watching Travis Hunter. We watched Jimmy Horn Jr. on Thursday night. Not
oh
have a
my
coming
God.
out party because he was great last year, but he made some
Yeah.
plays, guys, in space, late in the pocket. With Sanders back there scrambling and just making a play over the middle. He was able to make a guy miss, get to the sideline, get up the sideline. He was gone. Uh, he's not a big guy. He's like what, 5'10", maybe, but he's got slot receiver written all over him. I like the way that Jimmy Horn plays, especially with those yards
I
after
like
catch.
him too.
What did
I
you
like
think
him.
about that, Cody, in terms of what you saw on Thursday?
I didn't see much of it, man. To be honest, I mean, I know the kid's a beast, but I haven't seen none of the highlights. I've been caught up with fantasy drafts the entire weekend, so
You're not on auto draft
You
right
missed
now.
that
You
game
actually
on-
you got two
No.
computers going. You're trying to. Why don't you just hit the auto draft button and be here with us?
no.
Come on, be in the
No
moment,
auto
Cody.
draft. Nope.
Jody,
Yeah, y'all
talk to me
motherfuckers.
about Jimmy Horn Jr.
So,
What do you think
so,
on Thursday?
so what I seen out of Jimmy Horn is what I seen last year. Last year he had problems catching the football. He wasn't catching with his hands. This year it looked like he's catching the ball with his hands. And Shedeur Sanders is putting the ball placement has been outstanding for Shedeur Sanders in this early part of the season, where he's putting the ball on the front shoulder, the back shoulder, letting him get to the spots and letting him run after the catch. Jimmy Horn Jr., I believe, still has a lot of room to grow, because you got to think about it. He's going against their second and third cornerbacks, and we're talking about North Dakota State. We're not talking about Alabama. So we're talking about guys that probably are 2 or 3 star, maybe 3 star. Probably 2-star athletes at the cornerback position. So I don't want to put too much into what he did in that game, because the number 1 corner was definitely going after Travis Hunter. So Jimmy Horn was locked up with a guy that probably was a 2-star recruit. So I want to see what he do next week against Nebraska. Then we can maybe put something on that.
That's a great segue. Colorado is going to take another shot Nebraska is going to take another shot at Colorado. This is going to be a big test for Colorado in general. We're going to see how much growth there's been from last year to this year, what Deion and his staff have learned. I want to point out one thing. A lot of people dislike, the Colorado program largely because of Deion Sanders and whatever hype he gets. Listen, once you strap him up and you're playing down for down football, the hype doesn't matter anymore. Okay, it's your guy against their guy. What I will say is this: what I saw from Colorado last week, not as much celebrating after good plays. Not as much celebrating. So you're not seeing guys, look at me, look at me. That's a little bit more team oriented, a little bit more traditional, what you know, your Nick Sabans of the world are going to want to see from their guys when they play. So
Hey,
let's see how that
hey,
happens
Dave,
next week. They're going
Dave,
to be in some
Dave,
adversity
Dave,
and some
Dave,
adversity next week.
Dave, cut the shit. Cut the shit. Everybody is looking for Colorado to fail. Motherfucking niggas are hating on Dion. Cut the shit. 24 months ago, they had the worst roster in football. So let me bring people into this shit. So now I'm gonna be that nigga. If you never fucking did anything with a football program and understand how hard it is to go from 1 to 125 on a roster and to be one of the worst, you were 1-11, you lost 10 games by 20 plus points, and now you asking for this brother to have miracle, and then you trying to dog his son and saying this or that or this. Man, stop that shit.
Can I?
Stop it. What they doing right now? What they doing right now is this short of amazing. It's crazy because I know from Virginia Tech, and we played one of the toughest schedules in the nation, and we didn't have all that resource shit.
You were on
He has
probation.
an opportunity to win, an opportunity to compete, just because of who he actually is. Any other program, he would be 2, 3 more years, even with the new rules, because the new rules didn't just play for him. The new rules is for everyone. And people just need to cut the shit with Colorado. It is tough to build a program. Don't talk to me if you come from a blue blood. Don't talk to me if you ain't never been down there on the bottom trying to get these damn recruits, and they going against all this big NIL money. They just getting started. And everybody will act like they're supposed to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. Stop it.
Get in there, Jody.
It's
So
ridiculous, man.
my thing, I'm agreeing with TK on this one, but this is my problem with Colorado. They got self-inflicted problem. Get them motherfuckers off the sidelines. Get all them celebrities off the fucking sidelines. That's a problem because it's a distraction. Get Gilly the Kid breakdancing and shit off the sideline. Get all them people. Get off the sidelines because if Colorado loses 3 games in a row, you won't see them anyway. What happened last year during the stretch? You didn't see none of them. Get the distraction off the field. That's self-inflicted stuff right there. That ain't got nothing to do with the outside. That's self-inflicted. Because if I'm playing for my son playing for Colorado right now, how can he focus on football when his idol, his number one rapper, Snoop Dogg, is on the sideline? How can he focus? So I agree with you on that. And they are building the program. But you got to cut out the self-inflicted shit.
Mm-hmm. Get in there, Cody. I agree with you, Jody. That's good stuff. What do you think, Cody?
No,
Too
I
much
mean,
on the
I agree.
sidelines going on, or too much
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
noise, or maybe it's time for Dion to maybe calm some of that down. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this: if it's working, then it's working, and you don't fix it if it ain't broke. If they're winning games, they're winning games. Now, if they come out there and they're doing this and they're losing games, that's a whole nother story. Then yeah, you got to cut that shit out. But I think that it can go both ways depending on the character of those kids. If those kids enjoy stuff like that, enjoy performing for their idols, enjoy trying to show out for the people that they look up to, then that's one thing. Now, if they fold under the pressure and they get nervous, like, oh shit, the person that I look up to is watching me do this right now, then it's a different story. So I think it kind of depends on the character of the players and how it actually affects them, because it can really go either way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Game last night in Las Vegas, the Modelo Beer Kickoff Classic in Vegas. LSU against USC, SEC opponent, Big Ten opponent. I can't even.
16-1.
It's
16-1.
17 and
Stop
1.
that.
The
Stop
Big
that.
Ten is
New
going
10.
17.
New
Big
10.
Ten went 17 and 1.
New 10. Call them
The
new
new 10.
10.
We can't call it the Big Ten anymore.
Don't call
And
Big
they
Ten.
debuted
Come
a
on,
new
stop.
commercial. They debuted the new commercial where they show across the United States the map of how the schools have sprouted up and everything. And they put the California schools have popped up out there also. But listen, I like this game, guys. I really liked it. They played at Allegiant Stadium. Obviously, that's an NFL building. That's where the Raiders play. They had the roof closed. The retractable roof was closed for this. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I thought it was a great game. And I'm going to say this out loud. I'm going to say it out loud. Brian Kelly had a little bit of a meltdown after the game at the press conference.
Yeah,
Pounded,
he
you
should.
don't see this much emotion from a college coach in
Yeah.
an opener, but he's lost. They've lost his first three openers at
And they lost
at
the
LSU. They've
5.
lost, and
Yeah.
they lost the two previous years before that. So that's five
Yeah.
straight
That's 5
losses
straight.
for LSU in the opener. Two of them to Florida State, and then obviously last night to USC. Jody, I'm going to go to you on this. Did you like the game? Do you like the concept? And is Brian Kelly starting to realize that this is not going to be an easy walk to get to that next level for LSU?
I mean, the game was superb. I think that was a great matchup to put on Sunday. Two elite programs trying to get back and get their footing. But when we talk about Brian Kelly, I don't know who coached worse. Everybody keep thinking Lincoln Riley. He didn't coach good in that game. He the same dude at the end of the half that had an opportunity, got a 6'6" receiver in Robertson. He didn't throw a jump ball. He ran the ball again, and then his kicker ended up missing the field goal. So let's stop acting like he coached well. He just happened to win the game. They were the battle of bad coaches. Brian Kelly, I know him a lot up here because he was at Cincinnati. He couldn't coach in Cincinnati.
It's the battle of mid.
And then he get a job at Notre Dame. He left because the pressure was going to be too much at Notre Dame. He had to leave. And now he's at LSU, and the pressure's going to be much. I can see Brian Kelly not being there for a long time. Brian Kelly is not a good coach. And Lincoln Riley just got the success of knowing how to coach quarterbacks, but he didn't do a good job either. We act like he won the game, because if he would have lost the game, both of them would have struggled at the coaching position.
Didn't he go undefeated at Cincinnati?
No, they lost.
No, they lost the game. They lost a couple.
They
I think
lost
they went
the
10
game.
and 2.
They won that championship. What year was that?
No, they don't have a championship in that conference. Conference USA. He was playing a bunch of he beat teams he was supposed to beat.
Championship game. He played in the championship game in December of 08 or 09. I remember him playing in the championship game with Cincinnati.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but he was kind of like, he was undefeated with Notre Dame a couple years after that, and they lost in the bowl game. I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, y'all can't be.
Hey Tony, that fake punching the table. Get the fuck out of here with that fake emotion. That was the most terrible fake emotion. You mad, and you never took ownership until the end of the conversation. Brian Kelly has been doing this for years. He getting a lot of money to be mediocre. Like, come on, man. He went to UC. Yeah, he won games he was supposed to win. I'm right here, right down the street from UC. He was getting, now what I can say, he know how to recruit. But as far as when it comes to coaching, nah.
What did you think of the game last night, Cody? Thanks for that, Jody. What did you think, Cody?
I was drafting all night.
Damn, Cody. Cody said,
it's fantasy draft weekend, man. It's national draft weekend, yeah.
Hey, Dave, I saw the damn game, and I tell you what, both of those coaches wish they still had the first 2 draft picks from last year on their damn teams, with the number 1 and number 2. Them two sitting around here like, man, where my quarterbacks at?
Ouch.
I mean, come on, man. Listen, it will reveal to you the bad coaches when the talent level go down.
When the talent level goes down.
And the NIL money start going everywhere else, then we gonna find out if you're a real good coach or not. Let's be real about that.
Hey, Tony,
Miller Moss is good. Miller Moss, the quarterback for USC, is a dark horse. I picked him as one of my dark horse Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. The guy from LSU ain't bad either.
Well, what did Nick Saban say? What did Nick Saban say on College Game Day, his first week on the set? He said it's not about the $20 million. It's if you pay the wrong dude the $20 million, he said
you shit out of luck.
Come for your ass.
He said you shit out of luck.
He on there telling secrets. And
I love Nick. He's grumpy, but he's right.
I said it about Nick, and I said it about Mike Krzyzewski. And you can go back on the show. I said that the NIL is going to run all the big-time coaches out, because all of us, I'm a Carolina fan, so I ain't just pointing fingers. My coach got ran out. Krzyzewski got ran out. Saban's got ran out. See, I'll respect them now, because, see, you were winning championships when you were cheating. It's okay when we got all the stars. Now, when everybody else can cheat, Dabo Swinney. Oh man, I don't like that daggone transfer
Well,
portal.
I mean,
What
it's
would you don't
because they
like that
went.
transfer portal?
Because that's the thing. They went from giving these kids $100,000 to now these other teams are offering them $1 million and 1.5 and more than that. And that's the thing. They're trying to be cheap. They was getting away
Well,
with it when it was only 50 to 100,000 to these kids. Now these kids are
Yeah,
getting millions, and they're like,
hey,
nah,
hey,
we ain't got
listen.
that type of money. No.
I don't feel sorry for Dabo Swinney. And hey, shout out to Georgia for putting the smackdown on Clemson, 34-3 in the opener. Just kicked their butt. And now
Mhm.
the Clemson fans are saying, man, we need to get Dabo Swinney out of there. I was like, do you have $60 million? Because that's his buyout. If you give Dabo Swinney $60 million, he will go trout fishing somewhere or whatever,
Man,
go fishing for steelhead.
they
But
always
for
talking about
$60
firing
million,
a coach
he
after the
ain't
first
going.
loss.
Look, like you said, Cody,
Man,
he ain't going nowhere. For 60
No,
million,
that,
there's no way
hell no.
that
Clemson
time.
comes off that money. They're gonna have to sell.
That,
Hey, Tony, if Clemson comes up with 60 million, they're gonna have to sell that damn rock out there at
yeah.
Death Valley.
But this is the thing with Dabo Swinney. Who are you gonna replace him with? I mean, Dabo
Thank you.
Swinney. How many coaches in America got multiple championships that's still coaching? I think he's
Well,
one of like one of four because Nick is gone, Nick Saban, and
Nick's
Urban
gone.
Myers ain't
yeah.
coaching. So
He
he
would come
may be
back.
one
He would
of.
take that job. Nick
I
would
think he's
take
one
that.
of
I mean,
one.
Urban would take that job.
There's not a coach
Urban
in
would take
America that
that
got
job.
multiple championships in the last 10 years. That's
Urban
still
would take
coaching.
about any job right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Urban
Urban
Meyer
would
would
take
take
that
that
job
job
tomorrow.
right
But
the
I'm
hell
just
And
now.
saying,
there's nobody better than him to restore a program. It's Urban Meyer. And I don't even like Urban Meyer, but that dude gets the number one for restoring the program. He is unbelievable bringing in people for a program, dude.
Hmm.
He needs to write a book on that shit. I mean, start courses on it. I mean,
They
he's
all think
really
it's going
good
to
at that.
be. They all think it's going to be a big party. They're ready for
Man,
Everybody
I
in the
the
mean,
TD
history.
report today. We got
but
Cody, we got Jody, we got Big Tony. We are talking
he's
college
good.
football here. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Let's go to the next game. Let's go to the game last night. I want to give a shout out to somebody that's in broadcasting like us, maybe on a different scale. ABC/ESPN's Chris Fowler. He called the Texas A&M Notre Dame game on Saturday. Okay, he called that game. It ended at 10 o'clock, 10:30 Central Time. He called and he flew to New York and called the Coco Golf match at the U.S. Open the following afternoon. That's absolutely incredible. Now, can you imagine, guys, if we had to do something like that, call a game in mid on
I
Central
love it.
Time, and then be on East Coast time later that afternoon? I think for a 3:30 p.m. start, the whole show.
Hey,
That's pretty impressive. So shout out to Chris Fowler. I got to give shout out to Notre Dame. That was not an easy game for them. Now, listen, we can talk about their schedule, whatever. That quarterback they got,
hey.
that kid can play him some football. I liked him.
Beware of the Irish, baby, because it's something about them. It's something about when you go to that place and you hear the fight song and you see the touchdown Jesus and you just feel it in that place. Man, you hit the grotto and I'm telling you, they got Rudy on. And it's something about them. It's something about that place. And I
Got an
can't
easy
stand them,
schedule this year, and
and
that
they
was
got an
probably
easy
their
schedule.
toughest game.
I'm
Jody, what
telling
do you
you,
think? You're not impressed with
beware
the
the eye.
quarterback. You weren't impressed with Notre Dame and what Marcus Freeman
I'm,
did.
I'm, oh, Marcus Freeman, my dog. That's my partner. I actually know Marcus Freeman
Oh,
right here
good.
from
Okay.
Dayton, Ohio. So Marcus Freeman is gonna get you to run through a wall for you. He's one of the most humble men you're gonna meet, and he's starting to get that recruiting. But far as a quarterback and Riley Leonard, I'm not impressed with Riley Leonard because they're going from a whole different type of offense from last year when they had Hartman, where they were actually throwing the ball down the field. Now they got to kind of cater to this kind of run first quarterback. What I was impressed with Notre Dame is their defense. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't know who Xavier Watts is, the safety, he's the best safety on the board. He's the best safety on the board. If you don't know who he is, look him up. And then Jack Kaiser in the middle of that line, he's something special. But on the offensive side, they did run for 198 yards and didn't give up any sacks. So right there, because Texas A&M don't have a bad defense. Now their quarterback is
No,
god
No,
awful. Their
Texas
quarterback is
A&M
awful.
pretty decent. I like them.
They gave up
I like that
246
atmosphere.
total yards on the offense side of the ball, and the quarterback threw for literally 100 yards in that game. And this was
Mhm.
supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country when he came out. So Notre Dame is going to smother you. They're going to play methodical. They're going to play hard-nosed defense. They're going to run the football. That's a formula until they play against USC that may work until they play that final game against USC.
USC
Yeah.
is ranked 23 now. When the new rankings come out next week, they're probably going to be up to
Notre Dame gonna put the
19 or
pause
20,
on there
maybe.
because they
I don't.
offense and defensive line are good.
I don't
Listen, man.
see USC being ranked by the time Notre Dame plays them in the season finale.
Hey, the Big Ten or whatever you want to call them, the new 10,
The
or
new
however
10.
you want to call them, the new 10. Look, man. When I'm looking at the games, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State, it's Notre Dame, and whoever else you want to try to put in there. Those are going
Alabama.
to be your four. Man,
Alabama will be there.
It may be Alabama because of all the new stuff, and no, but my sneak is going to be Miami because I think Miami is back. They were teasing the recruits. They were yelling at the recruits from Florida, telling them, what y'all doing here? Y'all supposed to be coming down to the bottom. Hey,
So
Miami is back and black. I love the Canes. The Canes, listen, college football, when people say it's bad, it is bad. You got Georgia, you got Ohio State, you got Alabama, you still got Michigan, you got Texas, you got the U, you got Notre Dame. That is the best. That's it. This is the first time you had all them together. This is what it needs to be. And that playoff, I was against it. Oh, I can't wait for it now. Because there's going to be some people getting
we've got to talk about, if we're going to talk about the University of Miami, we've got to talk about Cam Ward and what he did down there in Gainesville. Jody, have you ever remembered seeing a quarterback from Miami dominate with his arm and with his legs the way that you saw down there in Gainesville? Have you ever seen that before? Because it didn't look familiar to me.
I have never seen. I mean, you look at their quarterbacks been normally stationary. Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, Kent Dorsey, Gino Torretta. Those guys have been real stationary quarterbacks. They had the classic drop back. They never really got a running dual threat quarterback like they have now. And I told y'all when Cam Ward was at Washington State, he was carrying a bunch of bums out there at Washington State and still put up 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So now he goes to a team that has what's his name? Cody Resposado.
Yeah, Resperto.
That Xavier.
Yeah, and then the running back too.
They got the running back from Oregon
Rodriguez.
State. Martinez came from Oregon State.
Martinez, yeah.
So when I say that Miami, and they got a kid on the defense side named Bang. Bang is a guy that
Bang
really
the
puts
end,
pressure
right? Yeah,
on the quarterback. So Miami, man, but I don't know if it was Miami looking good or Florida's just that bad. I don't know.
Bang Jr. is probably gonna be a first rounder, dude. Yeah. That kid's good. He's real good.
Yeah. I haven't seen a Miami and a Florida game where I just don't remember a Florida looking like that at home. And as Tony alluded to, that was a big recruiting weekend for the University of Florida. All the recruits were back there in the far end zone at the tunnel. And they were sitting there watching the game from the end zone. And the Miami players were telling them, don't go here. Don't go to school here. Come to the U, dog. Because you're going to come here. You're going to get your butt kicked. Your recruiting coordinator has to get them kids out of that area and get them back on your side.
Hey, folks, let me tell you something. What we may end up having is a Miami at Notre Dame in the playoffs. You can end up having, oh my God, oh dog, this is
Catholics versus Convicts Part 2.
You can end up having a Georgia at Notre Dame in the playoffs. You can end up having any of that stuff. Dude, this is the best. Listen, you can get on me. I was a party pooper. I said they shouldn't do it. Only because I wanted to protect my Division I AA playoffs. Because that's my playoff. But now that the U is back in black, see, I love it when the U is back in black and you put everybody on the sideline. All the rappers, all the actors, I don't care. You be niggas like you are, because that's who they are. And stop that being humble shit. That's for the white folks who want you to act right. F them. You do who you are. That's how you made it.
So you saying that just because you don't want distractions, you're acting like you're a white person?
No, I said that's for them that want you to act like you were fucking right. No, when Miami was doing what they was doing, they should have left them alone. When they start messing with them, that's when they went down. Leave them alone. That's who they are. That's who Miami is. And then you tried to come in. No, you tried to come in 1991. You gave us a film that all of us had to sign to watch. See, y'all don't know this. They got so mad at Miami, they made it mandatory that every Division I team watch them while they changed the rules on what they need to do. It was 25 clips. 20 of the 25 was Miami. You
Oh,
talking
you
about
talking about
discriminating against
celebrating
them?
after touchdowns and
No, it was just
after
everything. They changed the rules. They changed the rules because Miami was dogging people.
hey,
Don't do that shit.
let me jump in here on rules. I sent this to you guys in production, and I don't know if anyone did the research on it. The length of the football pants now with no knee pads. When did that rule change? Does anyone know? Because I'm watching the Notre Dame game, and then I was
Just the
watching the
thighs.
game. Huh?
They got just the thigh pads.
It's just the thigh pads.
Yeah.
It's clear
There's
that
no
there's no
rule
knee
change.
pad, and
So
sometimes
you
the
you
football
can
pants don't
choose.
even extend to the knee.
Yeah, you can
There's no.
choose. You can choose if you want them or not.
I think
That's
that's
crazy,
referee
guys.
discretion.
That's
That's
crazy.
referee discretion.
Referee discretion. Okay, so this is
Uh,
before the game. The referee is being told, "Hey guys," he's telling the ref, "Hey
Hey,
James, we're allowing our players to do this."
obviously.
hey, Dave, man, the
That's
knee pads
crazy.
don't do nothing but slow you down. Ain't like that keep you from getting a
That's what
torn
I'm saying. It's
ACL
yeah,
or something like that. It ain't doing nothing.
yeah. It don't
I
do
mean,
none
you
of
can
that.
get an
It just
ACL stepping off a curb. I
That's my
mean,
point.
I
yeah. The
get your
knee pad
point.
they just reduce
It's
mobility.
it's the thing that Tony is talking about, though. It's the way that the college football is set up from the NCAA level. And the NCAA is college presidents and athletic directors. That's really what it is, and conference commissioners. That's what the
A
NCAA
fucking
is.
asshole.
The NCAA right now, guys, they're fighting off NIL. They're trying to keep this
Yes.
together because what they don't want is Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame to say, you know what, we can get our own TV deals, screw this, and split off from the NCAA. That's what they're trying to avoid, okay, the
Yes.
NCAA. So there's only so much rules that they want to enforce, but it's always about the perception, right?
That's
They
why they gave
always
your
want
boy
the image of
Heisman back.
college football to be a certain thing. Newt Rockney, Amos Alonzo Stagg, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart. That's what they want. But we all know that the reality of what college football is not what the NCAA is trying to
But,
portray. That's
but,
what
but,
what
but, but,
Tony's talking
but,
about with all
but,
of the
but
videos and showing them, hey, don't
like
be like
easy.
Miami or whatever. Let's be honest.
No. Hey,
We
Dave,
are not
like
watching
easy.
college, Tony. We're not
Like,
watching college football to see guys
like,
in suits.
like Easy E said, I like after school specials. I do. I still like the Newt Rockney and the Notre Dame and all that stuff. I love it. But don't get me because see, when I grew up, when we played Miami and we played Florida State, and them dudes out there, and you go down hurt, and one of the dudes kicking you, talking about, get up. You ain't hurt, you just tired. And you got to start throwing hands with them. Dude, I want that back. I want that era back. And having those celebrities on the sideline is what Miami's been doing all their life. Keep it up.
Touchdown.
That's who Florida State did the same thing too. Man,
Hey,
you
just
be
real
who you
quick,
are.
Boston College just picked up a 6-yard touchdown by quarterback Thomas Castellanos. They're up 6-0 on Florida State.
I
Just to keep that
called
going.
I called that
Boston,
game yesterday. I said Boston College can beat them. I picked them to win, and that quarterback is a dual threat quarterback. People don't understand. The guy had
they ain't gonna beat
2,400
them
yards
dudes.
passing, 15
Uh,
touchdowns. He rushed for over 1,000 yards rushing as well, and had another 13 touchdowns. So
They
Thomas
ain't gonna beat these
Castellanos
dudes.
has over 1,200 rushing yards in his career already. He
that's
looks great out there. He's
yeah. He had 1,000 yards last year rushing and 13
1100.
touchdowns.
Yep, he had 1100. Tony, you're picking Florida State in this game. Now it's extra points, so it's 7-zip Boston College. Again, we talked about it at the top of the show. Florida State has already traveled this season 8,600 miles in the air because they
Yeah,
played in Ireland. Remember, they played in Ireland last week,
last
lost to
Saturday,
Georgia Tech.
yeah.
They fly back. They got back on Monday, this month, last Monday, and then they
Yeah, they got
practiced
back
on
a week
Tuesday.
ago.
Yeah, they got back a week ago and practiced on Tuesday, the day after they got back, because they lost. No day off. Florida State has to get that offense going, baby.
Well, You know what, Dave? The problem is this. Normally, when you go overseas, they normally have a bye week to follow. I think they did Florida State a disservice by making them play the following week. That's the first thing. Second of all, they're just not a physical football team. And what happened against Georgia Tech is Georgia Tech. I told people about Haynes King. Kid had over 2,800 yards passing, 27 touchdowns. He also had 700 yards rushing, another 12 touchdowns on the ground. And Jamal Haynes had over 1,000 yards. What you knew about Georgia Tech is they were going to be able to run the football. And Florida State cannot stop the run right now. And defensively, I was looking at Patrick Payton to be that guy, and Patrick Payton had a grand total of 1 tackle.
That's not good. Well, I think also the other problem is for Florida State is there's some hangover also from last year, Tony. Wouldn't you say? They were left out of the playoff last year. Quarterback got hurt, and that I think caused a problem for them as far as psychologically in terms of what's going on with that program.
So let's not be too bad on Florida State. Let's say Georgia Tech actually played Saturday. So Georgia Tech played within a week of coming back from overseas, and they played a team that could have been dangerous. They played a Georgia State, which is when you ain't recruited, those little games like that may not seem like much, but those little games are kind of hard. And they played it, 7 days. They playing 9 days later. They got a 2 extra day, and then they off next week. So Georgia Tech had a difficult thing too. So it could have been disastrous for them too.
But hold on,
Florida
Tony.
State just hype.
Tony, but the thing about it, you know as well as anybody, it feels better when you win instead of lose.
Sure does.
It sure does, but it also feels better to get 2 extra days off or 2 extra days to prepare for someone. Now, granted, it is an ACC conference pro. Both came back 2 games at home that they could lose because Georgia State. You may not know, but those guys in Georgia, when they ain't recruited by the big boys, they go to schools like Georgia State. And that was a tough, game because, if anybody looked at the Ohio State game the first 3 quarters, they was like, how is Akron hanging with them? Well, you want to know how Akron's hanging with them? Because each one of these kids are from Ohio. And for the first couple of, things, they playing above their head because they ain't never go to Ohio State. But then what happens? Talent and depth takes over, and then you get what you get. I mean, that's usually what happens. So,
but you know what, Tony, in that Ohio State game, the reason why it was looking like they were sleepwalking is Chip Kelly. It was Chip Kelly's fault. Chip Kelly was trying to get the ball to everybody because he didn't want those guys to transfer next year. Listen, man, we got so many guys that's going to come back next year. They doing that Florida shit. When Florida had all those guys and Percy Harvin and all, you had to get those guys the ball. That's why they didn't have – you would never get a Heisman Trophy at a skilled position at Florida when you had all that talent. That's what happened at Ohio State. They got 2 running backs that need to carry the ball at least 20 times a game. They got 3 wide receivers that need to get at least fucking 10, 11 targets. You got Jeremiah Smith, you got Cornell Tate, and you got Iboka who came back. The reason why he came back was because he wanted to win the national championship and be a higher drafted wide receiver. And then Will Howard ain't that fucking good. He ain't that fucking
good. Damn.
Yeah. Damn.
Hey, listen. Florida State just went 3 and out TK and punted. So Boston College is going to be back at it again. I'll say this, for Mike Norvell at Florida State, it's almost like a nightmare. You don't make the playoff last year. You lose the opener this year. Potentially, if your defense can't get you this football back and Boston College goes down and goes up 14-0 on you, as a coach, you've got to keep your guys together and not allow them to give up. You're going to see a lot about the character of this Florida State team right here, right now. They've got to stop this rock from rolling back on them. Jody, talk about momentum in college football as far as even at this early stage of the season, just keeping a team together, keeping the guys from getting on each other for mistakes or whatever.
It's one of those things in the locker room. And my question to that, my answer to that question is, how long do you roll with DJU? I don't think he's the guy. How long do you keep allowing him to hold that offense back? It's probably somebody else on that roster that can play a little bit better. This guy didn't throw a pass over 5 to 7 yards, and that's gonna condense that offense. And as a defensive coordinator, you can sit on all the routes if you know he ain't gonna go down the field. So how long do you keep this guy in the lineup? Because if he falls behind against a good running team like Boston College, you may not get a chance to get back in that game. And one thing that can't happen in Tallahassee, Tony, they can't go 0-2. They cannot go 0-2 in Tallahassee. I don't give a fuck what they did. I don't care what they did last year. It's this year, and they don't have the same talent that because you lost a quarterback, and you lost one of the best defensive players in the country in the first round, and you lost a running back who was going to be a stud at Arizona, Trey Benson, and you lose 2 wide receivers. So, hey, so that's the question I got for you guys. How long do you keep DJU as a quarterback?
And then how well did you recruit those? How well did you recruit those spots for the guys that went pro? Who you got back?
Have y'all ever heard of a guy named y'all heard of a guy named Brad Johnson?
Yeah.
But Brad Johnson wasn't around until a guy named Casey Weldon. So we came into the game against Florida State. We came in, Brad Johnson was so ranked high. We got into Florida State and went up by 20 points at Florida State. They were number 2 in the country. They took Brad Johnson out the game and put in a guy named Casey Weldon. Casey Weldon comes up and down the field, beats us, last seconds, beat us when they were number 2 in the country. Brad Johnson don't really play no more, and that's the reason why if you see Brad Johnson mention Virginia Tech to him, he'll hate it because he would have been the first-round pick. Now, he eventually later on and won the Super Bowl, but they made a decision to move him out that game because we was killing them. And when they took him out the game, I remember looking and saying, damn, they got somebody better than the number 1 guy? They didn't.
And let's give the late great Bobby Bowden a shout out here for how he recruited the quarterback position. Because you're talking about this. Brad Johnson, Casey Weldon. After that, Chris Weinke decides, I'm going to play baseball. He brought in Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward was supposed to be 3rd in that depth chart. So Chris Weinke decides he's going to go play baseball. So he leaves and plays baseball. But you can't start Charlie Ward over Casey Weldon. So Casey Weldon has a punter that can throw a football 70 yards. Charlie Ward was the punter that year, guys. Then again, Florida State only punted 7 times that year.
Don't forget about Thad Busby.
Thad Busby. Hey, how about another name? Remember this name, Dan Kendra. That guy was supposed to be like the greatest.
Tom Willis.
Huh?
Peter Tom Willis. Back in the
Tom
day.
Willis.
I'm going way back.
Who else?
Yes,
who was that
he
other
was Florida
guy?
State, man.
Adrian McPherson. Remember him?
Yeah.
He was the number 1 high school player in the country. He was a quarterback, and he was Mr. Basketball in Florida and Mr. Football. And then got kicked out of school. I think it was on a gambling scandal, right?
I know you're talking about.
Yep. He was a good player.
Shit, they had Anquan Bolton. They recruited
Anquan Bolton was a great high school quarterback. That's right, till he blew his knee out. And he's a pretty damn good wide receiver as a pro.
He made a good decision to change positions.
Yeah, he did. They may pull DJ because I'm telling you, if they don't pull him that game, we upset the number 2 team in the country, and it changes the way things happen. But Bobby Bowden felt it. He knew exactly what to do at the right time. And till this day, man, I always think about that, man. And I want to see Brad Johnson in person and be like, we had your ass. We had your ass.
Boston College just threw a wheel route that went for looks like 65 yards. So they're down to the Florida State 20 at this point.
Hey, but Tony, that's what makes a good coach, when you can make a decision when the bullets are flying. You can't wait till after this game to pull DJ. DJ is not the guy for you. If he's gonna be the guy for you, this is the thing, y'all. He's at his 3rd school in 5 fucking years. That means you're not that fucking good.
He's been in the ACC twice.
And that's what I'm saying. You lost your job at Clemson. You go out to Oregon State. You lose your job to a freshman.
You've been in the ACC twice, man.
And this is the crazy thing, y'all.
He had his 3rd school in 3 years.
Yeah, and this is the crazy thing. He was the number one quarterback. He was ahead of C.J. Stroud and
Oh,
Bryce
God,
Young.
yes.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. That goes to show you,
First and
man.
goal, Boston College. I hate it when I'm right. They've literally gone down the field in 4 plays from the 20. 4 plays,
Yeah, dog,
bam. They're down on they're back down. Listen, we've seen Florida State in situations like this before. I got to go back to
they got a
Charlie
problem.
Ward. Charlie Ward was playing as one of his first games as a starter against Georgia Tech, and I believe he had how many interceptions, Tony? 3. He had 3 picks, and they were playing him under the center. Bobby said, "You know what? Screw this, son. We're gonna put you in the spread. We're gonna put you in the spread." And he never looked back. Never looked back. Best high school. He was the best college quarterback in the country after that point. He was amazing.
He was the best. Put it like this. I tell people all the time, the Florida State team that went 0-2 in '89 is still the best team I've ever played against in my life. I've never seen a team that deep, that good, that experienced. I mean, I went to go run a screen one time and the ball went past me, and I looked at, and the linemen, 2 linemen was looking at me like this, like if I'd have caught it. And they said, "Man, we watch film too." And I was like, "Oh, this is over, dude." I said, when them dudes,
Hey, Tony.
listen, man.
Hey, that '89 Florida State team that went 0-2. Tell them how they finished that season. How many games did they win?
They won 11 games. They beat everybody by an average of 30 points.
11 straight, dog.
People.
It was like them 2 losses. They woke up.
And guess what? They lost to 2 good teams. They lost to Brent Favre and they lost to Terry Allen. So it ain't like they lost to
Southern
2
Miss and
sorry
Clemson. That's right. Southern Miss and Clemson.
They lost to a eventual Hall of Fame quarterback who was really, really good, and they lost to Clemson, who had a really, really good team. So it wasn't like that they lost to sorry people. But when they came out, that is the only game to this day, after the first quarter, I looked at my teammate and said, "There's no way we can beat them.
Hey,
There's
Tony,
just no way."
Did they have LaVon Kirkland on that team at Clemson too?
Yes,
that was LaVon Kirkland team. LaVon
Kirkland,
Terry Allen, Rodney Baracco. They had a squad.
It was
Rodney Blunt,
Hooper, the wide receiver, Cooper. I mean, they had a squad, dude.
Touchdown Eagles.
That stuff
Who
was
scored?
really, they were really, really good, Jody. That team, that team, I am telling you, the Florida State team in '89, I will put them up against any team I've ever seen. Buckley, Amp Lee,
wait a minute. That was the Terrell Buckley team?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They had
that was
Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett was on that team.
Was Marvin Jones on that team, Tony?
Shade Tree. Shade Tree was on that team.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. Shade Tree was on that team, but he was not Shade Tree yet. He was young back then.
He was young, but they still
had like a freshman.
McCorvey,
Tez McCorvey.
Oh my goodness, dude! You talking about
that team was that team? Dude. I'm not going to say that team was like 2001 Miami, but they had a lot of studs on that team. They had a lot of dudes.
I am going to say they were, because if you go back and look on the sneak, a lot of those guys went pro. They just didn't, you don't hear the big names. But pull up the '89 roster for the State, and I'm telling you right now, man, you're talking about fast, deep. I mean, just Bobby Bowden was just it was just something about them, man. When you played against them, and after the game, I never forget our strength coach and our coaches said, "Those are the teams that we're going to be like." And we used to say that to people, and the press, they said, "Well, you can't say that." Yes, we can, because you have to model after someone. And when we end up beating up on them a couple of years later, they stop playing. Why? Because we studied them.
Okay.
And we studied them and we got them. So
you ready? I'm gonna give it to you. Defense: Terrell Buckley at corner, Leroy Butler at safety.
Yep.
Reggie Freeman at linebacker.
Yep. That's them.
Errol McCorvey, Anthony Moss at linebacker.
Dinkins. Yep.
Deep offense: Amp Lee, Brad Johnson, Dexter Carter, Edgar Bennett.
Yep.
This is just the one deep, y'all. Quarterback punter, Charlie Ward. quarterback Casey Weldon, quarterback Peter
Casey
Tom
Weldon,
Willis. That was
Peter
their
Tom
quarterback
Willis.
room was Charlie
It was
Ward,
Peter Tom
Casey
Willis.
Weldon,
Yeah,
Brad
I
Johnson, and
told you.
Peter Tom
And
Willis,
Peter Tom,
dog.
yeah, that was my dog.
Damn.
That is
Yeah,
absolutely come on,
yeah,
guys. That's
that
ridiculous.
team
That's
was
insane.
good. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. I'd never seen nothing like that.
No,
And think
that
about
was
it. I was a redshirt freshman, so I was just getting into the speed of the game, and so playing them. So I never forget. I came out and they said, Tony, whatever you do when you bounce it back in on Florida State. I was like, yeah, right. They can't catch me. Then I went and bounced that thing, and as soon as I bounced it, bam, that speed. They hit me
now.
low,
I'm
and
gonna
I was
say
like,
something.
oh, man.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me in trouble with the Catholics. Okay, the Catholics aren't gonna like me for saying this. There's no reason for Boston College to physically do what they're doing to Florida State right now.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I told you the physicality of Florida State was not there last game. That front four, when we used to seeing studs on that front four across the board, they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that I thought was going to be a first-round draft pick probably just fell into the 4th or 5th round. That's Patrick Payton. He's a guy that he should have went pro last year, where his stock was extremely high. His stock is going down because you know what the skinny is on him? Run at him. And that's not a good thing when you're getting drafted. If that's a scouting report, is to run at him. And that's been the scouting report.
Wait, at a tackle?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Patrick.
no,
Patrick. No, he's a DN.
It doesn't matter. He's a D lineman.
Yeah.
If I can run at you, this I'm gonna go to Bill Parcells here. If I can run at your defensive tackle, I'm gonna have a good day. I'm not afraid to run.
That's the skinny on him. I read the scouting report. The scouting report is to run directly at him. I said
that's not good.
You ain't running at Myles Garrett. You ain't running at DeMarcus Ware. You ain't running at those guys.
No, you're not.
That dropped his stock probably from the 1st round pick. I guarantee he's gonna fall to about the 4th or 5th round.
I would say if you're talking in the pros, if you're talking about a guy like Micah Parsons, there might be maybe 2 or 3 teams that will run at him. Well, maybe 2 or 3.
Well, the thing about Michael Parsons,
San Francisco will run at him because they have a guy that can handle him.
But I'll weigh as much as Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is a Swiss Army knife at the linebacker position. Hold on just a second, fellas.
Go for it. Tony, let's talk about that physicality piece that me and Jody that piece were on. Yeah. Tony, you're a running back. Okay. Your offensive lineman, you want some dirt bags up there. Dudes that's gonna push that freaking pile. I don't care if you got to punch somebody in the gut, kidney punch, eye gouge, get him moving, get this guy moved over so I can go through this, I'm trying to run through here.
Hey,
if
fellas,
you have a defensive, Tony, who's the best defensive lineman that you ever saw?
Okay, you got to go.
I got to go, fellas. I'll see y'all in a minute.
That's cool, Jody. We're going to finish up. A couple more minutes. Thanks for joining us, Jody. Tony, who is the best defensive lineman that you had to go against, that you saw?
The big dude, Agnew from NC State. Remember him?
Big boy, yeah.
Yeah, he was a 1st round pick. Yeah, man. I mean, that was the one that hit me, man, and made me think I was in kindergarten. I got knocked the hell. They missed him on a trap, and he came through.
He still made it through. He still beat the trap.
He beat the trap, and that was bad for me. And that was tasting. You feel like you can taste metal when you start doing. Yeah,
now when you were at Virginia Tech, we had guys like Big Don Reynolds, Kenny Miles at defensive tackle, and that was when Chris Slade was one of the defensive ends. So you went up against those guys. Slade played in the league for a few years. Rest in peace, Big Kenny. But you saw Kenny Miles quite a bit. Gonzaga guy.
You guys had oddly enough. I mean, UVA had. You guys were doing well with. I mean, you had the advantage of being an ACC team in recruiting, so you know what I mean. So that helped out a lot.
We also had an advantage, unfortunately, that Maryland had that down spiral after the Lynn Bias thing.
Maryland had the down spiral because they had options in recruiting. If it was no options in recruiting, people would have still been there. But the thing is, I tell everybody, Lynn Bias helped build the Virginia Tech, the UVAs, and the West Virginias of the world. Think about it. How many times were Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and Virginia? How many times were they undefeated before Len Bias died?
0.
After Len Bias died, Virginia was #1 in the country. West Virginia was undefeated. Virginia Tech was winning all these bowls. Where you think all that shit come from, folks?
And don't forget, Penn State that whole time was Penn State.
Yeah, but Penn State was always Penn State. But when
Right.
you're talking about all the other programs, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, all them benefited from that Len Bias stuff with the with
Yeah.
the with the
Hey,
area.
listen,
So,
Tony, you played in the Big 33, right?
yep.
Okay. Do they still play that?
Yeah, they do. They play it on Memorial Day weekend now.
And
Remember, we used to play it.
Pennsylvania's still winning it.
Remember, you used to play it in the last Saturday of July. We used to play it, and then the next week we all would report in the school. But
Okay.
that time is gone, man. You can't do that no more.
If they're still playing that game, Pennsylvania used to win that every year.
They used to. They lost it the year before us, and then our game was cut at halftime. But we were getting on their butt.
Mm-hmm. Just the level of how good the players are up in PA. It's a little bit.
It's not close now. They've been beating us every year now. Yeah, because our
Pennsylvania
guys
is
don't
being
play.
overshadowed by Ohio.
Well, no, but our guys just don't play. We don't get the top guys to play like they get in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is more of a football state. Our people here just do it because it's here, and there's no pride here. It ain't no pride here like it is there. I mean, those states, Virginia, PA, Jersey, Ohio, these people got pride for football. This area don't have no pride in football unless you just win it. Unless it's the Redskins winning and Maryland winning, they don't really care about football here.
That's true. Hey, listen, TK, we're gonna end this. We'll end this. We're gonna step out. We're gonna say this. Are we getting together on Thursday? We're gonna do this.
Yes, let's get together because that's the Thursday night kickoff. Let's get together for a little
Everybody,
bit so
listen
we can
up. We're gonna be back on the
season
air.
predictions.
We're gonna be back on the air on Thursday. I'm gonna bring my boy Matt in. I'm gonna bring my boy Matthew in. He's gonna handicap some games for us for Sunday. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's my man. That's the one who was telling me about the Ravens and Texas.
Yep. Yeah, he's a good dude,
him
man.
on.
I just saw him this weekend.
Dude.
He wanted to know if he could get back on. I said, absolutely.
Tell me he can get on anytime he wants, man.
Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. It was a great show. We talked all college football, talked a little high school ball, but we're going to be all pro all the time on Thursday.
Yes, we will. Much love, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
Much love.
Great show, buddy. Later.
All right, bro.